What's up, everyone? It's your host back again on JKMost BTS, the only place where we decode every heartbeat of the Bangtan Universe with the precision of a scholar and the soul of a diehard fan. Listen, 2026 isn't just a year on the calendar, it's the year the earth shakes under the weight of the BTS World Tour. We've waited, we've counted the days, and now the vision of RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook standing together on an American stage is finally becoming a reality. But here's the kicker. The corporate sharks in the US think they can just slap a logo on a billboard and call it a day? Absolutely not. To be a part of this history, these multi-billion-dollar sponsors have to play by a set of rules so strict they'd make a CEO sweat. Are you ready to go behind the curtain of the most protected tour in music history? What is the price of entry into the purple realm? Let's break it down right now. First rule: the Army first sovereignty, Los Angeles. Imagine the sun setting over the iconic SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, the very place where the BTS residency once sparked a global frenzy. But this time, in 2026, the atmosphere is charged with a different kind of electricity. This is the first stop of the North American leg, and the air is thick with the scent of a new era. But if you look closely at the corporate booths lining the perimeter, you'll notice something strange. There are no aggressive sales pitches, no flashing neon ads for soda or sneakers that drown out the fans, and definitely no pay-to-play VIP tiers that haven't been pre-approved by the fans themselves. The first and most unbreakable rule that American sponsors must accept, especially in a massive market like LA, is the complete surrender of the experience zone to the fans. In the world of BTS, the sponsor isn't the hero, the army is. This means that giants like Coca-Cola or Samsung have to pivot their entire marketing strategy from selling a product to serving the community. We're talking about a speculative requirement where a sponsor must fund massive, free-of-charge fan lounges, cooling stations, and hydration points without plastering their logo over every single inch of the space. It's a psychological shift that many US corporations find hard to swallow because they are used to being the center of attention. In Los Angeles, the city of stars, BTS, remains the only constellation that matters. Historically, the 2021 Permission to Dance tour showed us that the city essentially turned purple, with the economic impact reaching hundreds of millions of dollars. For 2026, the stakes are even higher as the group returns from their military hiatus. The rule dictates that sponsors cannot collect user data for invasive marketing during the tour, a huge blow to the typical American data mining corporate model. Imagine a tech giant like Google or Apple wanting to sponsor the tour. They would have to agree to strictly zero tracking zones within the stadium grounds to protect the privacy and the pure emotional experience of the fans. This rule exists because Bicket Music and BTS have always prioritized the organic connection over commercial exploitation. In LA, the pressure is immense because it's the gateway to the West. If a sponsor fails to respect the Army First protocol here, they risk a global boycott that could tank their stock price in minutes. The narrative of 2026 is one of homecoming and healing, and any brand that tries to disrupt that with loud or tacky commercialism is immediately shown the door. Reflecting on this, it's beautiful how the power dynamic has shifted. For decades, artists begged for sponsors, but now, the biggest brands on earth are the ones begging for a chance to just be in the same room as the Purple Ocean, even if it means hiding their own brand identity for a while. The city of Los Angeles becomes a testing ground for this corporate humility. Can a multi-billion-dollar company sit quietly in the corner while the fans take center stage? This isn't just about music, it's about a new world order in entertainment where loyalty is the only currency that doesn't depreciate. As we look at the logistics of the 2026 tour, rumors suggest that any sponsor involved in the LA opening must also contribute to a citywide Purple project that supports local youth arts, further proving that their money must be used to build a legacy, not just a temporary advertisement. It's a high-stakes game of fit in or get out. And in the heart of California, the roar of the fans is much louder than any corporate slogan. The reason Los Angeles is the focus for this rule is its status as the entertainment capital. If you can force a Hollywood-adjacent corporation to bow to a fan base, you've won the war. The detail in these contracts is said to be so specific that it even covers the color of the staff uniforms. If it's not a shade of purple that complements the tour's aesthetic, it's rejected. Every detail, from the biodegradable cups at the hydration stations to the frequency of the Wi-Fi provided by tech sponsors, is scrutinized to ensure it enhances the fan experience without distracting from the 7 men on stage. This is the Army First Sovereignty, a rule that ensures the 2026 tour remains a sacred space for the boys and their fans, a shield against the cold, calculated world of American capitalism that so often tries to commodify art. As the lights go down and the first notes of the intro play, the sponsors are just shadows in the back, watching a movement they can support but never truly own. It's a lesson in humility, a masterclass in modern branding, and a testament to the power of a fandom that has become a global superpower. Would you believe that a company would spend $50 million just to be allowed to give out free water without a giant logo? In 2026, that is the reality they must embrace. Rule number 2. The Zero Waste Manifesto, New York City. Imagine the biting wind coming off the Hudson River, swirling around the massive metallic structure of MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, just a stone's throw from the neon-soaked chaos of Times Square. New York City, the center of the universe, is the place where dreams are either made or crushed under the weight of ambition, and for the 2026 BTS World Tour, the stakes have never been higher. But here is where the second unbreakable rule for American sponsors comes into play, a rule that has sent shockwaves through the corporate boardrooms of Madison Avenue, the Zero Waste Manifesto. If a sponsor wants their name anywhere near the vicinity of this tour in the New York metropolitan area, they have to prove not just promise, but prove through a rigorous third-party audit that their entire involvement is 100% carbon neutral. We aren't just talking about buying a few carbon offsets and calling it a day. We are talking about a radical, speculative requirement where companies like Hyundai, Samsung, or even major logistics partners like UPS must transform their entire operational DNA for the duration of the North American leg. Why New York? Because this is the city that never sleeps, the city of excess, and the city that has historically been one of the biggest contributors to urban waste. BTS, acting as the ultimate global citizens and former special presidential envoys for future generations and culture, aren't just coming back to sing. They are coming back to set a standard for how the biggest musical act on the planet can exist without scarring the earth. Think back to their speech at the United Nations General Assembly. This isn't a gimmick, it's a core value. In 2026, the speculative green clause in the sponsor contracts dictates that every single piece of promotional material, from the smallest digital flyer to the largest physical installation, must be made from 100% recycled or biodegradable materials. If a tech sponsor wants to set up an interactive VR booth at MetLife, they must power that entire installation using portable solar grids or hydrogen fuel cells brought in specifically for the event. The detail here is staggering. It is rumored that ByHit Music has hired a dedicated team of environmental scientists just to vet the supply chains of potential U.S. sponsors. Can you imagine a massive corporation like Amazon or a major beverage giant being told they cannot distribute single-use plastics within a 5-mile radius of the venue? That is the level of control we are talking about. This rule forces sponsors to rethink their entire marketing strategy. Instead of handing out plastic trinkets that end up in a landfill by the next morning, they are required to invest in digital-only engagement or physical-to-nature programs. For example, a sponsor might be required to fund the planting of a purple forest in upstate New York or the restoration of a community garden in the Bronx for every 10,000 fans that attend the show. This creates a legacy that outlasts the final encore. The emotional weight of this is profound. As fans walk toward the stadium, they aren't greeted by the usual trash-strewn parking lots of a typical rock concert. They enter a space that feels clean, intentional, and respectful of the future. This reflects the deep anxiety and hope that Gen Z and Alpha, the heart of the army, feel about the climate crisis. BTS isn't just giving them music, they are giving them a blueprint for a sustainable future, and they are forcing the world's wealthiest companies to pay for it. The background of this rule stems from the love yourself and speak yourself eras, where the message of self-love naturally evolved into a message of loving the world we inhabit. In New York, a city that has seen its fair share of climate-related struggles, from Superstorm Sandy to the choking smoke of distant wildfires, this rule isn't just a corporate requirement, it's a moral imperative. Sponsors are essentially being told, If you want the prestige of being associated with BTS, you must also accept the responsibility of being a leader in the green revolution. This is why many traditional sponsors have dropped out, replaced by innovative tech startups and forward-thinking conglomerates who are willing to overhaul their systems. The logistical nightmare for a sponsor to provide, say, 50,000 compostable lightstick batteries, or to ensure that every transport vehicle used by their staff is a zero-emission electric vehicle is immense, but that is the price of admission. The narrative of the 2026 tour in NYC is one of refined responsibility. It's the group saying that we can have the spectacle, the fireworks, and the earth-shattering bass of Mic Drop or Run BTS without destroying the environment. Every detail matters: the ink used on the tour programs, speculated to be soy-based, the uniforms of the event staff, recycled ocean plastic, and even the energy-efficient LED configurations that reduce power consumption by 40% compared to the 2019 Rose Bowl shows. Reflect on that for a second. The biggest band in the world is using their leverage not just for more money, but to force the hand of global capitalism toward a greener path. It's a bold, risky move that could alienate traditional corporate partners, but it's exactly what makes BTS more than just idols. They are icons of change. As the purple lights reflect off the New York skyline, the message is clear. The future is not just something we wait for, it's something we build, one concert at a time. The question is, which American brand is brave enough to completely dismantle their old ways just to stand in the glow of the Bangtan light? This isn't just a tour, it's a global environmental audit disguised as the greatest show on Earth. The sheer complexity of managing this in a city as dense as New York is a testament to the dedication of the team behind the scenes. They are proving that if you can make a zero-waste tour happen at MetLife, you can make it happen anywhere. It's a challenge to the industry, a gauntlet thrown at the feet of every other touring artist and every other corporate giant. Are you here for the profit, or are you here for the planet? In 2026, if you are a sponsor for BTS and NYC, you better have a green answer. The fans are watching, the world is watching, and more importantly, the 7 men who have dedicated their lives to this message are watching. There is no room for greenwashing here. There is only room for genuine, radical action. Imagine the pressure on a CEO sitting in a skyscraper in Manhattan, knowing that if their company is caught violating the Zero Waste Manifesto, the backlash from millions of armies worldwide would be swifter and more devastating than any government regulation. That is the power of the Purple Shield. It is a new era where the values of the artist dictate the behavior of the corporation, turning the traditional power structure on its head. This point in the tour isn't just a musical milestone, it's a victory for the planet, orchestrated by a group of 7 men from South Korea who decided that good enough wasn't good enough anymore. As we move through the streets of New York, seeing the purple banners and the electric shuttles, you realize you aren't just witnessing a concert, you are witnessing the birth of a new corporate conscience. This is the detail, the fact, and the reality of the 2026 tour. Change is coming, and it's wearing a purple hoodie. How many cities can say they were transformed, even for a week, into a sustainable utopia? Only the ones lucky enough to host the 2026 World Tour. This is the standard, this is the rule, and it's non-negotiable. Rule number 3. The Soul Healing Protocol, Chicago. As we move inland to the heart of the Midwest, the windy city of Chicago welcomes us with its towering skyscrapers and the deep, soulful history of the blues. But in 2026, the atmosphere at Soldier Field is defined by something much more profound and personal: the presence of Min Yoongi, the man we know as Suga, or the legendary Aegis D. This third point in our list is dedicated to him because the rule here is as sharp and honest as his lyricism, the mental health and authenticity protocol. In Chicago, a city known for its grit and its broad shoulders, any American sponsor looking to be part of the 2026 World Tour must accept a condition that is virtually unheard of in the cutthroat world of Western marketing. They are strictly forbidden from using trauma porn or the members' past struggles as a marketing tool, and instead, they must provide tangible, long-term mental health resources for the local community and the fans. Imagine a massive corporate sponsor, like a major insurance provider or a global tech firm, being forced to pivot their entire budget away from glossy TV ads and toward building snooze lounges within the stadium, soundproof, serene environments designed for fans who might experience sensory overload or emotional distress during the high-octane performance. This speculative rule is rooted in the very soul of Suga's discography, particularly tracks like The Last and Amygdala, where he bared his deepest wounds to help others heal. For the 2026 tour, the background of this rule is the August D legacy, honoring Yoongi's journey from a social service agent during his military hiatus back to the global stage as a beacon of resilience. The detail required for this is staggering. Sponsors are reportedly required to fund 24/7 mental health hotlines staffed by professionals who understand the specific cultural nuances of the ARMY fandom for at least 6 months following the concert date. Historically, Chicago has always been a Suga city, a place where his raw, unfiltered energy resonates with the urban landscape, and in 2026, the city becomes a sanctuary. Reflection is key here. As you stand in the shadow of the Willis Tower, you realize that BTS isn't just selling a song, they are enforcing a standard of care. Any brand that tries to pinkwash or greenwash their image while ignoring the real lived experiences of the youth is immediately disqualified. The no exploitation clause means that sponsors cannot use images of the members from their most vulnerable moments in the military or their early debut days to elicit pity-based engagement. Instead, they must highlight the strength of the human spirit. The narrative of this point is one of deep emotional maturity. It's about a group of men who have grown into their roles as mentors and healers. In the bustling streets of Chicago, where the wind can feel like it's cutting right through you, the warmth of this soul-healing protocol offers a different kind of shelter. This rule also extends to the physical logistics of the event. Sponsors are required to facilitate community jam sessions in underserved Chicago neighborhoods like the South Side, providing instruments and music production workshops to children who, like a young Yoongi in Daegu, have big dreams but limited means. This isn't just a corporate social responsibility, CSR, checkbox. It's a non-negotiable part of the contract that is monitored by the members' own production teams. Every detail of the healing zones is scrutinized, from the aromatherapy-used lavender and sandalwood, rumored favorites, to the specific frequency of the ambient music played in the lounges to help regulate heart rates. This level of detail makes the 2026 tour feel like a living, breathing organism that cares for its cells, the fans. As we reflect on the impact of this, it's clear that BTS is redefining what a sponsor actually is. They are no longer just financiers. They are collaborators in care. The emotional atmosphere in Chicago during the 2026 tour is one of catharsis. When the opening notes of a Suga-produced track hit the speakers, the crowd knows that the brands surrounding them aren't just there to take their money. They've been forced to give something back to the soul of the city. This rule challenges the very foundation of American capitalism, which often thrives on the commodification of vulnerability. By saying no to that, BTS and ByHit are protecting the sanctity of the fan-artist relationship. Imagine the scene: thousands of fans wearing Future's Gonna Be Okay shirts, walking past a corporate booth that isn't selling a product, but is instead offering a free workshop on songwriting as a tool for emotional processing. This is the reality of the 2026 World Tour. It's a shift from "look at us" to "how are you?" And it's why the Chicago leg is often cited by insiders as the most emotionally taxing but rewarding part of the tour for the sponsors involved. They have to face the music, literally and figuratively. They have to prove that they are worthy of being in the same space as a man who gave everything to his art. The factual background of Suga's 2023 D-Day tour, which was a massive solo success in the US, proved that there is a huge appetite for this kind of deep psychological engagement. For 2026, they are scaling that up to stadium levels. The pressure on the sponsors in Chicago is immense because they are operating in the territory of a perfectionist. If the mental health resources provided are anything less than world-class, the contract allows the tour management to terminate the partnership on the spot with no refund. That is the power of the soul healing protocol. It ensures that the legacy of August D isn't just a memory, but a living, breathing movement that changes how we think about music, marketing, and the human heart. As the sun sets over Lake Michigan and the purple glow of the stadium reflects off the water, the silence in the snooze lounges is just as powerful as the roar of the crowd. This is the balance BTS has achieved, and it's a rule that every American sponsor must accept if they want to be part of the history being made in Chicago. It's a lesson in empathy, a masterclass in authenticity, and a reminder that even in the coldest wind, there is a fire that can keep us all warm. Are you ready for the healing to begin? Because in Chicago, the rules are different, and the heart is the only thing that matters. Rule number 4. The Hope Community Equity Mandate, Las Vegas. The scorching heat of the Mojave Desert has always been a metaphor for the burning passion of the army, but as we roll into the neon-drenched oasis of Las Vegas for the 2026 World Tour, the stakes have shifted from the gambling tables to the very soul of the city. We all remember Borahagis in 2022, how the entire strip turned purple, how the fountains of Bellagio danced to butter and dynamite, and how the city became a temporary home for the global fandom. But for 2026, the return of Jungkook, our legendary J-Hope, brings a rule so revolutionary it could dismantle the traditional power structures of Sin City itself. This is the Hope Community Equity Mandate. Under this speculative but highly detailed protocol, any American sponsor, from the massive casino conglomerates like MGM or Caesars to the global airlines flying fans into Harry Reid International, must agree to a worker-first profit-sharing model that ensures the unseen heroes of the tour are compensated at a level never before seen in the entertainment industry. Why J-Hope? Because Jungkook is the assistant instructor of the group, the man who spent his military service in the 36th Infantry Division, not just as a soldier, but as a leader who cared for the well-being and discipline of his recruits. He is the bridge between the precision of the performance and the humanity of the people behind it. The rule in Las Vegas dictates that sponsors must pay a living wage premium of 30% above the standard Nevada rate for every single security guard, janitor, technician, and driver hired for the duration of the BTS residency at Allegiant Stadium. This isn't just about the group, it's about the hope that J-Hope represents. Imagine the board of directors at a billion-dollar hotel chain having to sign a contract that says their profits from the BTS room packages must be partially diverted into a healthcare fund for the city's gig workers. The background of this rule is the hope on the street philosophy, a belief that dance, art, and life belong to the people, not the corporations. In 2026, the detail in these contracts is whispered to be nearly 100 pages long, specifying that sponsors cannot use automated AI services to replace human staff during the tour weeks, ensuring thousands of real people get the economic boost from the BTS effect. Reflect on the atmosphere as you walk down the Las Vegas Strip. Every corner is a stage. But instead of corporate billboards for luxury watches or high-stakes poker, the sponsors are required to fund Hope Street art corridors. These are massive, open-air galleries where local Vegas street artists, many of whom struggle to find space in the corporate-dominated city, are given prime real estate to showcase their work, funded entirely by brands like Samsung or Hyundai. The rule states, no corporate logos can be larger than the artist's signature. It's a complete inversion of how sponsorship works in America. Historically, Las Vegas is a city where the house always wins. But in 2026, J-Hope and the team are making sure the community wins the jackpot. The emotional weight of this is staggering when you consider J-Hope's own journey from the underground dance scenes of Gwangju to the bright lights of Vegas. He hasn't forgotten where he came from, and this rule is his way of ensuring that the 2026 tour lifts everyone up. The technical requirements are just as intense. Sponsors must provide professional-grade dance flooring for community centers across the city, not just for the stadium stage, so that the youth of Las Vegas have a safe and high-quality place to practice their craft long after the tour bus has left town. This is the jack-in-the-box effect exploding with energy, but contained within a structure of deep moral responsibility. Every detail, from the ergonomic chairs provided for the stadium's backstage staff to the high-quality, nutritious meals served to the thousands of local volunteers, is a direct reflection of Hoseok's meticulous nature and his sun-like warmth. Imagine a tech sponsor wanting to host a VIP after-party, but being told they can only do so if they also fund a 2-4-hour career workshop for local art students. That is the reality of the 2026 mandate. It forces these American giants to look at the people not as consumers, but as community. The narrative of the 2026 Vegas leg is one of radiant justice. It's the feeling of standing in the middle of Allegiant Stadium, hearing the earth-shaking bass of a J-Hope solo track, And knowing that every person working that night, from the person scanning your ticket to the person cleaning the aisles, is being treated with the same respect and dignity that the members show each other. It's a transformative experience that challenges the very heart of American capitalism. The pressure on sponsors is immense because J-Hope's standards are legendary. If a sponsor fails to meet the Hope community criteria, they are blacklisted from any future collaboration, a death sentence for any brand trying to reach the Gen Z and millennial demographic. The factual reality of the 2022 Borahaga's success showed that BTS can literally run a city better than the city government can. In 2026, they are using that power to redistribute wealth and opportunity. It's a beautiful, bold, and slightly terrifying prospect for the corporate world. As the purple lights of the high roller observation wheel spin slowly over the desert, you realize that this isn't just a concert residency, it's a social experiment in equity. J-Hope is teaching the world that you can be a global superstar and still care about the person who is setting up your microphone. This is the legacy of the 2026 tour, a world where the sunshine reaches everyone, even those standing in the shadows of the giant casinos. The detail of this rule even extends to the transportation logistics. Sponsors must fund free purple shuttles for fans and locals alike, reducing traffic congestion and ensuring that everyone, regardless of their income, can experience the vibe of the tour. This is the Hope Bridge. It connects the elite world of stadium tours with the gritty reality of urban life. And as we look at the smiling faces of the staff and the fans, we see the true power of this mandate. It's the power of Jungkook to turn a city of greed into a city of grace. Can the city where the house always wins finally learn to share the jackpot with the people who actually build the stage? In 2026, the answer is a resounding yes, but only if you follow the rules of the Hope Community Equity Mandate. The question remains, which brand will be the first to realize that giving back is the only way to truly move forward? As we prepare for the next stop on this legendary journey, remember that the heat of Vegas isn't just from the sun, it's from the fire of a movement that refuses to leave anyone behind. Are you ready to see how the sunshine changes the world, one paycheck at a time? This is the 2026 BTS World Tour, and the rules are just getting started. Fifth rule, the filter of kindness, mandate San Francisco. As we cross the majestic, fog-draped Golden Gate Bridge and head into the tech-driven heart of the world, San Francisco, the air changes. This isn't just the land of Silicon Valley giants and radical social movements. In 2026, it becomes the sanctuary for the fifth and perhaps most delicate rule of the BTS World Tour. This rule is inspired by the man whose grace is as fluid as the Pacific tides and whose heart has always been a filter for the world's harshness, Park Jimin. For the San Francisco leg at Oracle Park or Levi's Stadium, any American sponsor, especially the tech titans like Apple, Google, or Meta, must sign the Universal Inclusivity and Anti-Discrimination Charter. This speculative but deeply necessary rule dictates that a sponsor cannot just provide access. They must actively dismantle every barrier, physical, digital, and social, that prevents any fan, regardless of their background or physical ability, from feeling the Jimin effect of pure, unadulterated love. Imagine a world where a tech sponsor is forced to divert 40% of their activation budget into Project Serendipity, a massive logistical undertaking that provides free, high-tech transportation and specialized medical assistance for fans with disabilities across the entire Bay Area. Jimin, who served with such quiet, steely discipline in the 5th Infantry Division, has always been the angel of the group, the one who notices the smallest tear or the slightest stumble. This rule is his spirit codified into a contract. The background of this point is rooted in Jimin's long history of secret and public donations to education and health sectors in South Korea. In 2026, he's taking that quiet philanthropy and making it a loud requirement for corporate America. The detail in these contracts is rumored to be insane. Sponsors must fund sensory-inclusive kits, noise-canceling headphones, fidget tools, and weighted lap pads for every single attendee who requests one, regardless of whether they have a formal diagnosis. Think about the reflection here. San Francisco is a city of extreme wealth and extreme struggle, a place where the digital divide is a physical reality. Jimin's rule forces sponsors to bridge that gap. Tech companies wanting to show off their latest AI or VR gadgets must ensure that their technology is 100% accessible to the visually impaired and the hard of hearing, using haptic feedback suits that allow deaf fans to feel the vibrations of Jimin's high notes in Set Me Free PT2 or Filter. This isn't just about being nice. It's about a radical form of kindness that demands a financial sacrifice from the world's richest entities. Historically, BTS has always been about loving yourself, but Jimin's 2026 mandate says you can't fully love yourself if society keeps telling you that you don't belong. The atmosphere in San Francisco during this tour is one of revolutionary softness. You'll see corporate booths that have been turned into kindness hubs, where instead of collecting emails for a newsletter, staff are trained by experts to facilitate connection circles for fans who traveled alone. The detail is so precise that it covers the very language used by sponsor staff, any hint of bias, any lack of gender-neutral facilities in the sponsor village, or any failure to provide multilingual support, not just English and Korean, but ASL and regional dialects results in an immediate public termination of the partnership. It's a high-wire act of corporate social engineering. Imagine a global payment giant like Visa or MasterCard being told they must waive all transaction fees for small, minority-owned businesses within a 10-block radius of the venue. That is the Jimin filter. It filters out the greed and leaves only the grace. The narrative here is one of the gentle power. It's the realization that Jimin's softness isn't a weakness. It's a weapon against a cold, indifferent world. As the fog rolls in over the stadium and the purple light reflects off the water, the fans feel safe. They feel seen. Because a sponsor was forced to care. The factual basis for this is Jimin's reputation as the social media king and the global it boy. He knows the power of digital spaces, and he's using that leverage to force these tech companies to make the physical world just as inclusive as the best parts of the internet. There are even rumors that the filter rule includes a digital body positivity clause, where any sponsor using Jimin's image must commit to zero retouching policies in their advertisements, promoting a message of authentic beauty that Jimin has championed throughout his career. This reflects the deep emotional journey of a man who once struggled with his own image and emerged as a beacon of self-acceptance. In the streets of San Francisco, from the Mission District to the Castro, the purple wave isn't just a crowd. It's a demonstration of what happens when a global icon demands that the House of Tech serves the heart of humanity. The pressure on these sponsors is immense because Jimin's fans, the Mochis and the global Jimin stans, are among the most detail-oriented and protective in the world. If a sponsor messes up the accessibility ramp or fails to provide the promised sign language interpreters on the big screens, the internet will know within seconds, and the brand's kindness score will plummet. This is the new era of accountability. It's a documentary-worthy transformation of how a city hosts a mega event. Every detail, from the biodegradable kindness confetti that sponsors must pay to clean up, to the scholarships for local arts students funded by the Jimin Equity Fund, is a testament to the power of one man's vision. As we reflect on this, we see that Jimin isn't just a performer in 2026, he is a social architect. He is using the filter of kindness to ensure that the San Francisco leg of the tour isn't just a memory, but a blueprint for a more compassionate society. Can a city built on disruption handle a movement built on inclusion? In 2026, under the watchful eye of Park Jimin, they have no choice. The rules are set, the contract is signed, and the only thing left is for the world to witness the most inclusive show in history. Are you ready to step into a world where no one is left behind, and where the only filter we use is one that makes the world a little brighter for everyone? This is the Jimin legacy, and it's rewriting the rules of the American dream, one angel act at a time.